All right, so this war we have Ghost, Kitty Pryde, and Falcon Bands. All right, so Boss Island, we've got Null, Hood, and Symbiote Supreme are your options. Terrax back there, you can use S99, or you can go with Symbiote Supreme, or Hood, or even Havoc. Bishop there, plenty of options. Ultron, Infamous, Doom, any other tech really. White Magneto pre-fight to help. Long Shot, Cap, S99, Doom, all work. White Magneto to help as well. Spam there, you got Venom and Fury. Mr. Fantastic there, you've got Fury, Archangel, and then possibly, or you can use S99 and just hit into block. You can also use probably any of the skill options that are debuff detox. King Groot, Hood, Symbiote Supreme, and then Korg there, Omega Red, really anyone he doesn't have a regen, so it's kind of a throwaway. 1 through 3 on the way out, Silver Surfer, you have S99, you have Claire, you have plenty of options for that node. Path 1, you can Nebula the whole thing, use any of the debuff detox for Anti-Venom, just have to outplay the regen, so have max to spare if you have someone like Black Widow, Deadly Origin assigned. Path 2, you can S99 the whole thing, or you can play it safe and bring a Shock Immune or an Odin Pre-Fight for any option for Kitty Pryde. So Nimrod, Omega Sentinel. And then path 3, you have Claire, you have Colossus, you have, again, any kind of bleed debuff detox option, or you can just ignore the debuff detox or the debuffs and go with a bleed immune. 4 through 6 on the way out, Man-Thing, you've got Titania, Mr. Negative. On the way in, MODOK, you've got Nick Fury or Magneto. Could even probably use Omega Sentinel and just parry heavy until you get Special 3 ready, and then rinse and repeat. Path 4 there, Overseer, Warlock when the global is down for Claire, and then Warlock or G99 for Havoc. And then path 5, Sasquatch, you've got Overseer, you've got Mr. Negative, and then for Domino, you've got Nimrod or Omega Sentinel. Path 6, for Apocalypse, you've got War Machine and Nimrod. For Joe, you could go Fury, or you could do a debuff detox like Ultron or really anyone and just don't play parry. So play Stun Immune. 7 through 9 on the way out, Quicksilver, you've got Fury, you've got Elsa. On the way in, we have a Hulkling. Plenty of options there. You can use the Symbiote Supreme and slap on Odin Pre-Fights. Just have to watch out for the power gain. You also have Colossus as probably a better option with a White Magneto pre-fight. Path 7, Wong, you could use a buff immune like S99 or Titania, or you can use like Stealth Spider-Man, who has a slow option. And then for Invisible Woman, same thing, you could use any of the debuff detox options. If you're sending Stealth Spider-Man for the slow benefit against Wong, you can send him to Invisible Woman as well. Path 8, Mojo there, Titania, S99, Mr. Negative's kind of a stretch, just got to look out for that node. And then Gore, Symbiote Supreme, and Hood, probably your best options. But just pay attention, slap on an Odin pre-fight to help, and watch your Mystic Dispersion if it's at max. I would probably lower it. And then path 9, Chavez. You can use Nebula for Chavez, or you could go Havoc and just kind of, use the half immune. I mean, I guess he's not half immune, but the shocks will help nuke her down. And then for Nova, Claire, Doom, yeah, those are probably your top 2. 1 through 3 in section 2 on the way in, you had a Hyperion. You can use S99. Symbiote Supreme probably works. So does Hood. Middle minis, Fury, you've got Apocalypse, Havoc. Sorry, I was thinking about Kitty, but she's banned. Void, I would use any of the half immune debuff detox champs. So this is Incinerate and Shock. So Incinerate, you've got Havoc. You could use, trying to think, I don't think there is an actual Shock one, so you could use an Odin pre-fight just to kind of help out. Section 1 through 3 on the way out, Mephisto. You've got S99 or Warlock. Path 1, you could use S99 or Apocalypse. Path 2, you could use any of the buff immune, although it does not matter. I would rather actually use an Incinerate immune for Human Torch, so Havoc probably standing out as your top option. And then path 3, no armor there for Scorp, so you could use Archangel, Shang-Chi, any Scorpion counter for that. 4 through 6 on the way out, Immortal Abomination. You could use Overseer. You could use any poison immune, really. So Nimrod. Path 4, Gallon. You could use Blade. You could also use Kingpin. And then Mr. Negative, you could still use Kingpin, or you could use any of the debuff detox champions and just block a lot. Path 5, Cersei, you've got Hood, Symbiote Supreme, and then for Wiccan, use an Incinerate immune, you've got Rolk, or could technically use Archangel as well. Probably just go Rolk, or Havoc. Path 6 there, Valkyrie, you've got Apocalypse, you could use Apocalypse for Wiccan. You've got Apocalypse for Valkyrie, or any of the mutant class, really. Just be mindful of her abilities. 7 through 9 on the way out, Arcus, would go Symbiote Supreme, and then probably Colossus, or Shang-Chi, and just, make sure you have the cleanses up for debuffs. Could get risky, but use a White Magneto pre-fight. Path 7, Penny, you've got Gallon, you've got Hulkling, and then for Kingpin, you've got Apocalypse or Omega Red. Path 8, Mordo. You've got Archangel. You've got Doom. Got plenty of options for him. And then Path 9, we've got Mangog. You could use Void. You can also use Omega Red, or any half immune for Mangog. And then Maw. I would probably go Overseer as your top option. But again, these unsteady ground champs on the hazard shift nodes, your best bet is to just use a half immune. And since that's power focus 1, pretty much any of them are going to help out with taking Maw. So that does it for defense. Let's take a look at attack. All right, so War 3 is against the Living Tribunal. Shout out to Taters, Lizer, Carl, and Tommy, and everyone else that I know over there. I'm taking in Mr. Fantastic, Nebula, and Havoc, and I have Path 2 in Section 1 and Path 1 in Section 2, along with a middle mini-boss. So, pretty light war for me. However, it's starting to become that characteristic with that similar characteristic that I've dealt with multiple seasons, where there's just a particular champion or fight, and I get sent that matchup. So here, Human Torch to start off. Nothing problematic here buff-wise, so we could just go ahead and use an Incinerate immune, and since I have Havoc, that's what we're going to do. On top of that, we can counter Unsteady Ground with the debuff detox. So I decide to play aggressively at the start to build to Special 1. Once we get there, we're going to go ahead and throw it. My plan was to only bait out Special 1's and to block all of it. This will trigger debuff detox in the best way possible, and therefore keep me debuff free the entire fight. Throwing Special 1 here from here on. I'm going to parry heavy at least until I get 5 prowess built, and then I'm going to let the build-up, the plasma build-up reach 10. And honestly, it didn't even need to reach 10 wherever I was when I reached Special 3. I was just going to go ahead and throw it and let Torch die from the special 3. So 3 prowess, 10 max buildup. So we're going to stay pretty much fully built up the entire way. So it was never a concern about not being fully ramped due to all the energy attacks just causing the plasma buildup. And then here's the special 3 just to kind of finish out the fight. So easy fight for Havoc. Maybe didn't even need to go that far. Probably could have gotten away with a special 2. It's whatever. Whatever ends the fight. We move on to probably my most stressful fight, the one I was worried about the most, and the reason I have Havoc, and it's Nick Fury on 23. Now, there are a lot of benefits to using Havoc for this node, and they tie into debuff detox. We don't have to worry about 1, the unsteady ground, obviously, and 2, the root, because the root is actually a debuff on this node. So as long as we have a charge or 2, or even build debuff immunity, we won't get rooted. But I did not know how that was going to interact. So we got a few surprises, especially with me testing out Power Focus 2. So what I wanted to do was to do a combo that pushed him close to special 1, but not all the way. And then I was hoping as close as I got him, I could do a full combo and push him to special 2. As you saw with that example there, it's actually not enough. So I will have to push him past special 1, and we miss a block there. I'll have to push him past special 1 to push him to special 2. My plan was to get a special 1 off. Now that we've done that, I'm going to parry heavy after dodging his special 2, and then I'm going to parry full combo to push him to special 2. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm counting bubble shield. So I'm very aware, and there's the animation for the root mechanic. I was not prepared to see the root. I was already mid-heavy, so I kind of got scared a little bit, but then when it didn't place, I was relieved. But yeah, I was going to throw special 1, limit my blocks to the only parry blocking I do to land heavies and combos. That way I could keep track. But there were a few times like there where I just miss the first parry and have to reparry, or I just straight up don't parry at all and actually get hit. So that happened earlier, and then it happens right there. And then I got rooted, which was unfortunate, probably because a bleed got consumed with the cleanse charges. It's fine. I keep my cool. I figure out where I am with the bubble shield, because 2 full combos and stopping shy of special 1 was not enough to push him to special 2. I did end up pushing him past special 1 and then going into a block like that and hoping that I could get 1 blocked hit in and then either get a heavy or get a reparry in so that I could push him to special 2. And all in all, I actually felt like I kept pretty good track of bubble shield, aside from the mistakes where I thought I landed a parry and then dropped my block, or had to reparry. Once I got him to this point and I was fully built up and I'm hitting into his block so that I can get him to special 2, and there we triggered the bubble shield unblockable, so we're good on a new set of 10 blocked hits. But here I'm just planning on dexing, getting a charge, letting that take care of the root like it is, and just letting him degen until I'm ready or until I'm cornered to throw this special 3 and finish the fight. So it was getting to this point I was concerned about, but once we got here, I felt like it was over, and the special 3 confirmed that. So the one fight I was worried about the most took care of business, focused. There's a lot going on in that. Path 1, Section 2, easy fight here. Rank 4, Max Sig Nebula showing up, taking this robot and just annihilating. So I'm going to PS1 for both of these fights because I am taking the next fight with Nebula as well. I mean, here was a pretty simple game plan of just parry to get rid of the power gain and then just holding block until I get to close to 20 charges or cornered, and then parrying and throwing special 2 and calling it game over from there. So getting there. Doesn't really matter that we are debuff detox here. Luckily he was passive there, so I built the 20 pretty easily. I'm gonna take a couple blocked hits to make sure I get to special 2, and then I'm gonna reparry, or I'm gonna parry there, throw the special 2, and then finish the fight. Tick, tick, bye. He was one of my 2 easiest, so Human Torch, Dragonman, I wasn't worried about it. This Anti-Venom, I was, only because at the time I did not know about an ability. And I'm going to explain it as we go. So my game plan here was to take enough blocked hits and parry at the start to remove this debuff. Because it's going to cause me to glance. At least that was the only reason in my head that I wanted to get rid of it, was the glancing. So it's gone. I went debuff immune. Now we don't have to worry about it. Now I can kind of fight for space, but I was worried that hitting him would give him a regen charge. But he's not gaining any, and I noticed that during the fight. So I kind of calmed down a little bit. Figured, hey, he's not gaining regen. He's not going to go unblockable, so I don't have to worry about getting cornered. So I actually let myself get cornered here while I have the special 2, so that I can get to 20 charges. And when I get to 20, I'm going to reparry against the wall. I'm going to throw the special 2, and this is actually going to KO him. And what I did not know was that in his dupe ability, if that Clintar, I believe that's how you pronounce it, debuff is not present, he does not regen from hits. So a lot easier than I thought. Our battle group didn't do too hot, 7-6, but we did beat theirs. And we ended up winning this war 14-8. So pretty good showing for us. It's kind of average where it's at. There were a few mishaps that we can definitely easily clean up and get our deaths down to like 6 or 5. But yeah, felt pretty good going 3-0 the first week. It's a good start. It's the start we need to stay away from tier 2 and better increase our odds of finishing in Masters by the end of the season. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe, give it a like, and I will catch you guys at the next war.